This episode of Interviews from My Hometown contains explicit material may not be suitable for all audiences. It is also produced by Hometown Productions. Hello and welcome to Interviews from My Hometown. My name is Seth Gamble, and today we have Gus Wavra. Gus, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so Gus, I'm super excited to have you on the show. I've known you for quite a long time, and could you give like a brief description about yourself? What you think you are?
I'm a pretty cynical dude. I think that sums it up pretty concisely.
Yeah, okay, I'll give you that. How long have you lived in the greater Wenatchee area?
I have lived here all my life, except for when I was, like about 4 or 5. I lived
Okay,
for a year in England. I can't remember exactly, but yeah.
cool. What was the early life for you? And I'm talking like sports, extracurricular activities, first jobs, that sort of thing.
Mm. So, um, in high school, up until and in high school,
Mm-hmm.
I ran a lot and I swam a lot. For like sports, I did cross country for 4 years, swimming for 4 years, and track for 4 years. And it was really fun experience doing all of those. Um, First job, I've worked for my uncle, doing orchard stuff.
Cool.
Sometimes I'm just the handyman. Sometimes I'm driving a tractor. Either way.
It's work. I mean, what can you complain about it through?
Mm-hmm.
What about some extracurricular activities? I know you've done quite a bit of stuff.
Mm. Oh man, I was in Knowledge Bowl. Um, Back when they had it. I'm not sure if you remember it. It's
Yeah,
Mission to
I
Mars.
remember with it.
Oh, I mean Mission to
Oh,
Mars.
Mission to Mars. Yeah. I did it 1 year.
Okay. Okay. I did it. I want to say I did it 2 years. Um, way back when I did Math is Cool.
Oh man, math is
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, and that was. I mean, that's just like that's reaching back in my memory because
Yeah.
I'm not sure about you. Like my
Um.
memory doesn't go all the way back.
Yeah.
It's
My
really it's weird when it stops.
I remember the fun parts of my early memory, but anything that wasn't fun, I don't remember usually.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I remember doing Stage Kids with you.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was a big one.
Stage Hits is great.
That stuck in my mind.
Um,
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
yeah, I remember the sleepovers.
Oh yeah, tons of them.
Yeah, I was talking to Maggie the other day, um, and Maggie's my girlfriend for anyone listening. Um, and it must just be a Mormon thing to not have sleepovers.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, just you never did any sleepovers, and I just that's so weird to me because those were like the best times. Just
Yeah.
drinking a
Stayed up
ton
till
of
like
soda.
2 a.m.
Yeah, yeah, playing video games,
Yeah.
being just absolutely junky.
Yeah,
Awesome.
and then getting up. You gotta get up at 8, eat breakfast, and then leave the house by 10. That was how
Yeah,
it always was.
yeah.
Uh, I want to ask about your family. Uh, who they are, what they do.
Okay. Um, my dad is a teacher at the high school. Uh, do you want names?
I mean, if you want to
Okay.
share them.
Um, I'll just leave that. I'm gonna leave that obscured.
Okay. Yeah.
So my dad's a teacher at the high school, and he teaches arts and stuff.
Hmm.
Um, Went to Central Washington University.
Okay.
Uh, my mom, she's pretty chill. She's a lot more I don't know. I feel like I've taken on a lot of personalities from my dad and also from my mom, you know?
Hmm. Yeah.
Um, yeah, she recently quit her job at the pack about like half a year ago,
I
maybe.
remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And it's just been better for her ever since, you
Yeah.
know? And my sister, she also goes to WSU with me. And she was actually in Prague doing
Okay.
like a study abroad in spring, and they had to call her back, which
Yeah.
was really weird,
Hmm.
you know.
Yeah. Um, so I wanted to ask about, speaking of WSU, ask about your college and how that was going before we had
Oh
to go
man.
quarantine.
Um, man. So yeah. So I've had a lot of really cool experiences in college that I don't think I'd be able to have in a. I like if I went to another college that wasn't WSU, I could also have these experiences.
Hmm.
But you know, it's just a great time. I'm a food science major, so learning about everything it takes to take product from like an orchard or a farm and how that all gets like onto your plate, right?
Yeah.
And it's every step of the process. Lots of stuff about farming and how to like audit farms and making sure that farmers are keeping healthy practices.
Mm.
Um, all the way to making sure you've cooked your food the correct amount of time. Then into like really interesting areas like different things that you add to food, or like I'll turn around a food label now and read the ingredients list, and
Yeah.
now I can know just about everything on that list. Like the big names make sense,
Hmm.
and I think that's a really interesting thing when we're pushing more towards like this organic and um, very minimalistically processed diet.
Yeah.
Um, it's important to also remember why we include things like maltodextrin or lecithin. Um, some of them improve like flavor and stuff. Sorry if this isn't direction
No,
enough,
no, no, no. This is perfect.
but some of them improve like consistency, flavor, and some of them like your product would be bad without it, like
Yeah.
unsafe to drink or eat. Odwalla came into this a while ago because they don't use preservatives in Odwalla.
Hmm.
Um, and so stuff would like grow inside Odwalla, and then people got sick when they drank it. So yeah,
Okay.
it's been a super interesting experience, um, and I'm glad that I've had it. I made quite a few friends over there.
Could you tell me your favorite story so far that you've had at college, if you have one?
Okay, I have to. I'm gonna have to make sure my door's closed for this one.
Okay,
Give
gotcha.
me a sec.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. This is Gus Wavra closing his door.
All right, so it was one of the last nights that we drank, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and we were
Now,
ah
Gus, before you finish the story, I do want to tell you this is a public interview.
yeah. It's all
Okay,
right.
okay. Your
I,
parents
I'm.
probably will hear this.
What can I say?
Okay.
Um, it is the best story I have.
Okay. Okay.
Um, I had gotten through 7 shots, right?
Okay.
Not, and I'm a relatively lightweight, you know,
Mm-hmm.
like as I'm like bantamweight if you take it from boxing.
Okay.
So I had gotten through 7, which is a big
Yeah.
number for me.
That's a lot.
Um, and you know, that I was taking it relatively slow, and then I was like, all right, I gotta go to bed, guys. You have fun without me. And so I went into my bedroom, and there's Camden, my roommate. Um, he's like, "You doing all right, Gus?" I'm like, "Yeah, let's go to bed." And he's already up in bed. We had to bunk beds, you know.
Hmm.
I'm on the bottom because I anticipated stuff like this happening.
Yeah.
Be able to climb up, you know. And so I got really hot, so I took off all my clothes, completely naked in bed, you know.
Hmm.
and, and so I'm laying there for a while, and I can't quite get to sleep because I just feel kind of sick.
Yeah.
And then I felt like I have to vomit. I really have to vomit. So I got up, like grabbed a towel from my closet and like put it around my waist and everything. Opened the door. I like ran as far as I could to the bathroom because there's only like one bathroom for 50 guys.
Yeah.
And we're pretty far from it on the floor. So I'm running. It feels like I run forever, you know. And I didn't make it all the way. I didn't make the bathroom. I like, oh, and it was, you know, I've seen larger puddles. Um, the first week back from winter break, my friend Ben had a puddle like this big, which was quite the feat. Mine was about that big. You know? I'm like, all right, it's done. I feel so much better. I got up, walked back to my room, closed the door, went to sleep. No water, like didn't even clean out my
No.
mouth. And the next morning, I woke up and like I like opened the door and it's right in front of the door. I'm like, all right, and I never admitted to it at all, but I did clean it up.
Well, that's a good
Yeah,
good plan there.
yeah, but I'm like, it couldn't have been me. I was naked when I went to bed, and everyone's like, sounds good. Cool.
um so what do you like to do outside of college when you're actually there?
Um, like in the dorms and stuff.
In the dorms, if you like to go out and go have
Yeah.
food there.
Okay. So, um, my daily schedule, if you will, um, varied from day to day because my schedule was different. You know,
Yeah.
uh, some days I'd have like a big 2 hour gap between my classes, and I'd occasionally go work out. Sometimes I'd go eat. Sometimes I'd go back to my dorm and hang
Mhm.
out. But I, oh man, yeah, near the end before quarantine, I worked out with a couple friends for a couple weeks in a row actually, and we did, you know, just generic stuff like uh, ab, arm, leg day, you
Yeah.
know, and that was fun. But most of the social time was actually in the dorms playing video games and stuff,
Okay.
just chilling out with friends. We got into a couple board games. We got into have you ever played the what's it called? The Haunting of House on the Hill or whatever?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah.
I've played that
Yeah,
once.
we played that a lot. Trying to get through all the different haunts that they had.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. Sometimes we'd watch movies. Those movies were fun because man, just a great time all together in the dorm. Made some really good friendships there.
Glad to hear. Glad to
Mhm.
hear. Yeah. So in Wenatchee, not in Pullman where WSU is, what are some of your favorite spots around town? Um, of this amazing valley we live in.
This amazing valley. Oh man. Okay. I you know that so down by the loop trail on the Wenatchee side,
Okay.
um, there's one dock that's high standing. It goes about like 20 feet above the water.
Yeah.
It doesn't go out very far. It just kind of goes out. And it's always got a chain link fence over it, but it's always covered in plants. And I really like that area.
Okay. Yeah.
Um, I like the Sage Hills Trail
Mm-hmm.
that we have, and I like the um, Squilchuck.
Yeah.
The whole trail system up there is super cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, yeah, that's over here on the East Wenatchee side. There's the trail that goes above the graveyard. Have you ever been up there?
No, I haven't. What's that one?
Um, it's just a large network of trails that
Hmm.
goes up into like sagebrush hills. Not quite as developed as the Sage Hills trails, but it's very cool up there.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm gonna check that one out.
Mhm.
So this next part, I personally feel you can tell a lot about a person through their music taste. It helps connect with an audience. It helps build a connection. So I wanted to ask about your music taste and what you listen to on a daily basis.
Um, okay. Like anyone, I'd say it has evolved over time.
Yeah.
When I okay, so I can still listen to things that I've listened to in the past,
Mm-hmm.
and they sound really good. So, um, back in like the freshman and sophomore year, I listened to a lot of Muse.
Okay. Yeah.
Muse. Um, and after that, I started listening to Led Zeppelin, and I've just been such a big fan of Led Zeppelin since then. Um, and lately, I've been getting into Pink Floyd.
Okay. Cool. Yeah.
Yeah, they I don't know, just something about classic rock that's not dirty, you know.
Yeah. I was in contact with a person here in Wenatchee that had an original printing of the Pink Floyd vinyl,
Oh,
the
that's cool.
Dark Side of the Moon. I collect
Yeah, yeah.
vinyls, and I was really close to getting it, and they sold it. Like,
Mhm.
I was like,
I'm gonna geek out on you a little bit here. Have
I'm
you ever
ready.
done Dark Side of the Rainbow?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Why?
Oh, that it's just such a cool experience.
Yeah,
For anyone who doesn't know, it's like where you take, uh, it's where you play Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon while the Wizard of Oz is going on, and it's like, it's
it's
definitely a
it's so
coincidence.
well synced.
Yeah.
You know what another movie is?
What's that?
Paul Blart Mall Cop 2.
What about it?
It's synced perfectly to Dark Side of the Moon.
Yeah, that's
um,
funny.
there's a YouTube video. It's I'll link it to you after we're done with the podcast here,
Mhm.
but it explains every scene and how it matches up with the songs in the album.
Yeah, of Paul Blart
Mall
Mall
Cop
Cop
2.
2.
Yeah.
That's almost as good as the second. What's the Stuart Little movie?
I haven't seen that one.
Oh
Let me
man,
see the first one.
those movies made a lot of money. You'd be surprised.
Stuart Little or
Yeah,
Paul Blart?
Stuart Little. Yeah,
I I only remember the first one, and I couldn't tell you what the plot was. I just remember
exactly.
there was a mouse and a red car. Past that, I
I,
don't remember
I
anything.
remember at one point Stuart was either
Yeah,
trapped in a dishwasher or a washing machine. I can't remember which. It messes with my mind to this day. I
yeah.
just remember the sight of a rat like falling on the floor all wet. I'm like, weird.
You know what the best part about that is? Is that we'll never look it up to find out what it actually
Nope.
was.
Nope.
We can't.
You just
um.
have to. Yeah.
So this is kind of getting into the personal questions that I have. What's something that most people underestimate about you?
Uh, man, I never even think what people think about me.
What people estimate about you?
Yeah. Gosh. Um, yeah, I don't know that one.
Yeah.
What would you say?
Um. I don't know. You anything that you say you're gonna do, you usually are pretty spot on about it that you'll be able to do it and do it pretty dang well if you think you can.
Okay.
So I'd probably say that your ability to know that you can do things, I guess.
Okay. Maybe it's like I just don't like to take. I don't know about that though, because I do like taking risks.
Yeah.
It is fun to take risks, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. All right.
That's an interesting question. I'd have to think about it a bit more.
Okay. Well, then moving on to my next question. What's the best compliment someone's ever given you?
Ooh. Okay. What was her name? What was the vice principal's name at high
Stacia
school?
Harding?
Yes. Yeah, she said I had a nice ass.
Whoa, hold up. I need a
I
story
know
here.
exactly, and it caught me off guard, and I was like, "Geez, well." I, I mean,
What's the
a compliment.
context? I mean,
Um, we were practicing for Mr. Eastmont.
okay.
We had
Yeah,
to
I
we had
remember
to
that.
strut down the aisle, right? And and you just said it. I'm like, cool, you know. It doesn't really.
You wore a lot of spandex for that show. I remember I was in it with you. And
Yeah, the short shorts.
yeah, the short shorts that you insisted you weren't going to wear underwear with.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, which I did not.
you didn't. No.
No.
That's your favorite compliment that someone's given you. That you had a nice ass.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Um if you had, this one's weird. If you had a budget of $5,000, how would you spend it and why?
Like a month, or
You
just
have 2 weeks to spend $5,000. Here, I'll even add extra incentive onto it. You have 2 weeks to spend $5,000, and if you can spend that $5,000 in 2 weeks, you can you'll get $10,000, and you can have that for the rest of your life.
gosh, I'd probably just. I don't know. Oh man. Okay. What would I do with $5,000? Ah, I know it sounds lame, um, but I'd probably just give it away, like SpongeBob style.
Okay.
We just have so much money, we're giving it away. Because like, if I'm gonna get more money, I don't know. Maybe it would be something. Maybe I'd get like a scooter or something
Okay. Yeah.
for $5,000,
Get
and
a
and
nice
then with
moped.
the, huh?
Get a nice moped.
Yeah, but then like, no, I'd get a crappy moped.
Okay.
Then $10,000 rolls in. I'd remodel the moped with that $10,000,
And then
and
you can
just take
sell
it
it
to
for
the
like
shop and say,
80,000.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'd say, guys, pimp my moped, and they'd be like, whoa, nice moped. And then you know that regular show episode where they get the bikes
Yeah.
and they like pimp the bike. That's so good.
Down low.
Yeah.
It's like a Harley.
Yeah.
So this term that I'm about to say I've coined, and I don't know if it's the right term to use, but I like it. So what does being a Wenatcheeite mean to you?
Oh gosh. Okay. Living very close to the um the agricultural lifestyle,
Okay.
at least to me. And from what I've noticed, a lot of people agree, because we're in the middle of just a bunch of orchards and stuff. And up there we have wheat fields. Over that way we have orchards and vineyards as far as it goes. Yeah, and a part of uh, I'd compare us to Yakima. I know it sounds kind of bad because screw Yakima.
Yeah, right.
But I think we're just a smaller, nicer, safer community. That is like Yakima's this, and there's a bunch of trouble going on.
Yeah.
Ruckus. And here's Wenatchee over here. And we're like,
We're the cooler Yakima is what you're saying.
yeah.
Okay.
Cooler Yakima. That's exactly what I'd say.
I got it. Yeah, I can agree to that. I had to spend 3 days in Yakima as I went for a competition for cinematography,
Mm-hmm.
and I got twice asked if I wanted to buy meth.
Ooh.
I didn't say yes either time. And one time I woke up, and this is a competition. There's 4 18-year-olds staying in one hotel room, and I'm the oldest of the 4 18-year-olds. And I wake up at 4 a.m, and on the TV is Big Mouth, the TV show, blasting at like 50% volume.
Man.
In one corner, there's a dude like making out with a chick. And then on a different bed, a dude is fast asleep. The guy who's laying next to me is like just like high off his mind and laughing hysterically to Big Mouth. And at the end of our bed is a girl who was about our age, I'd say, holding a bottle of Black Velvet vodka, or Black Velvet whiskey, excuse me.
Mm.
She takes a big swig, turns and sees me, and
In
she
the
goes, "This is about 2 a.m, yeah." And she turns to me and goes, "Oh, hey, well, good morning. Do you want to
Yeah.
cuddle?"
Oh.
And
Well, thank you.
I went, "No, I'm fine." And then I went back to sleep.
I think that's less to do with Yakima though, and more to do with just being.
I think the meth thing had more to do with Yakima.
Okay, yeah, that for sure. But
that was more my example, but that was just a funny story from my
yeah,
competitions.
a lot of those. That just sounds like everything about dorm life squeezed into one room, you know?
All right, yeah.
I was super lucky to get a roommate like Camden.
Okay.
You know, sorry if you don't want to go this way, but
no, please.
Because Camden and I kind of clicked, you know, and it's like you could kind of feel it from other roommates on the floor. They just didn't click, right?
Yeah.
They I don't know. They just had like weird vibes going towards each other. But I don't know. Camden and I got each other, and we had fun together. And other rooms down the hall were sometimes too loud.
Okay.
Yeah. It's weird. It's weird living in a dorm with with like 50 other guys.
Yeah.
Your age. All of them realize, like, suddenly, hey, my parents aren't going to see what's going to happen as long as I don't let the adult on the floor see. I can do whatever I want, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, I think it's one way to get to maturity, to just no inhibitions, no bars held.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just go all for it.
Yeah.
One way that I like to keep this show going is I like to ask the guests to ask me some questions. And it doesn't have to be about Wenatchee. It just has to be just questions, you know? So what questions do you have for me, Gus?
Oh, gosh. I'm going to put you on the spot, okay?
Oh, please do.
Have you ever smoked weed?
No.
Okay. Well, that was quick. Okay. Oh, gosh. How do you spend most of your time during quarantine?
During quarantine, my time has spent going to work, coming home, working on this podcast, figuring out what I'm doing because I'm an intern at Sage Hills Church, figuring out what the student side of the ministry is doing because that's what I focus on a lot of. Going to bed, waking up, going to work, doing the same routine over again.
Oh man, hold on. Okay, so you're an intern at Sage Hills Church.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, so Cesar CTO?
Yeah.
He is he's a super devout Catholic guy,
Okay.
right? Um, and man, I just love the guy.
Hmm.
Um, he is working in the student ministry of the Catholic Church in Pullman,
Okay.
and he has a couple really good stories about that. So if you want to contact him or anything,
I, I
I'm sure he'd be glad to.
I just might. I just
Okay.
might.
Yeah. Okay. Another question for you.
Please.
Um, have you ever gotten a body piercing?
Nope. No piercings.
Have you ever thought about it?
I've thought in my sophomore year, I thought, oh man, it'd be a really cool idea to get an earring. And that lasted about 2 hours. And then I decided against it.
In those 2 hours you spent, I spent as well, and I also, well, I guess it's like different side of the same coin, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. I mean, you actually got an earring. I
Yeah,
remember that.
yeah,
So,
and the piercing still holds to
yeah.
this day. What's your favorite book?
Oh man. You know, so there's a story behind that. So my favorite book is a little book called A Tale Dark and Grim.
Okay,
It's
the Grim 1M or 2?
two.
Oh, Grim.
So it's a story about the old Grimm stories, like the bedtime stories that you read. And this artist or author, he took it and spun it so it was really dark and gritty, more than it already was.
More than the Grim
Yeah.
stories.
So
Dang.
like the plot of this first one was it started with Hansel and Gretel, and then Hansel and Gretel continued to go through the rest of the most of the Grimm stories.
Oh,
And Hansel ended up going like to hell and like arguing with the devil and then coming back, and it's wild.
huh.
But
Like Inferno style?
yeah, yeah.
Huh.
Um I had a girlfriend and she went, "What's your favorite book?" And I told her, and she's like, "Do you have a copy of it? I'd love to read it." So I handed her my copy of the book, and then we broke up 3 days later. So
You
I don't
never
have
got the
I
book
don't
back.
I don't have the book anymore.
Oh man.
I have the sequel, but the sequel blows. So
Yeah, those Grimm stories were really messed up. Like
they're
how
really
the
weird.
Cinderella one, where the like I
Yeah.
can't the crows like pecked out the heels of um the sisters, the evil
Yeah.
stepsisters.
I think it was also the stepsisters tried to cut off Cinderella's foot.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. It was just so messed up.
Why? It's wild.
I guess like different time, you know.
Yeah. I mean,
You needed something to actually scare
the
children, not
the
to tell them.
1700s be wildin', bro.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, isn't that weird? Those were made when it was actually like dangerous to go into the woods,
Yeah.
right? Now, I mean,
I think it's still
aside
dangerous
from
to go in the woods.
if yeah, yes and no. I mean, there are mountain lions, so let's count off all the dangers, right?
Mountain lions,
Mountain lions, bears,
bears,
um,
beets.
wolves, Battlestar Galactica,
Exactly.
wolves, uh, hunters, like the
Hunters.
occasional bear trap.
Yeah.
Those don't really. I'm not sure if those even exist.
Well, I remember a story with Hayden and I. Hayden being my best friend, and Gus
Yeah.
knows him as well. Hayden and I, we went into the woods. This was end of senior year, almost when we were supposed to be graduating. We went into the woods and we got chased off by a person who lived out in the woods who had a chainsaw.
That's freaky.
Yeah, it wasn't pleasant. I'll tell you that much.
Can you go into more detail on that story?
So we were like, hey, it'd be a really. I'm a photographer and I like to take photos. I went to Hayden. I'm like, it'd be a really cool photo shoot if we went out into these woods and took a bunch of photos. And so we're like, yeah, let's do it. So we're walking. I got a bunch of equipment. Like I'm talking probably 2 pounds of equipment in a backpack and what's around my arms. And Hayden's not carrying anything because whatever. And we're walking, and we hear this guy, "Hey, get out of my woods! and he starts running, and we see him, and he's holding this big chainsaw. We're like, oh shoot, and I start running, and I drop a few parts of equipment, but I'm like, whatever, I don't need it. Just kept running, and then we got back to my car, started it, and drove off really quick.
That's freaky as garbage, man.
Yeah, that was about April. Yeah, about this time actually, last year.
Huh, man. Graduation. Oh gosh. Okay. Um, most embarrassing event that has happened to you.
That has happened to me. Can I?
Like embarrassing. You just felt like every time you remember that, you're just like,
I'm gonna do
oh.
two because they compare pretty dang well. So the most recent one that has happened was before graduation. Another one that was kind of like, oh, here's another graduation story. I went longboarding with Hayden during senior sunset, and it was a long loop trail. We're just going, we're looking at the stars because it was right afterwards, and it was just pitch black out almost, and it was just beautiful. I'm just looking, and I hit a rock, and I flew forward and skidded about 10 feet across the ground, and this whole side of my face was just scarred up. I had a giant gash across, like, above my eyebrow, and just a black eye the next morning. This is 3 days before graduation. So I'm having my scene, my, like, in my cap and gown photo, I have like this swollen black eye, and
Uh-huh.
then we're going through the practice and everything, and I'm sitting there, and Mr. Noel, he looks at me and he kind of does like a double take, and he walks towards me and he goes, "What happened? Did you get in a fight?" And I'm like, "No, I fell off my longboard last night." And he's like, "Well, that was stupid, wasn't it?" And that like whole thought still gives me like
Yeah,
imps in my
EBGBs.
mind.
Yeah.
But and then, like, when we were actually graduating and he gave me a hug, he whispered in my ear, he's like, "Hey, I'm sorry I punched that hard, by the way." And
Man.
and my other one was freshman year. I went on my first church retreat. This was me first getting into, like, knowing God and my kind of like obsession, I guess, with the Christian religion. Um, we're at this place called Warm Beach, and that is not what it should be named. It should be named Cold Swamp because that's what it is. And I had just gotten in the shower, just towel around my waist, nothing else on. And the boys' cabins are here, and the girls' cabins are literally right across from us. And this special individual, he grabs me, rips off the towel, and throws me outside and locks the door. Now, the same group of freshman girls that, like, I know and stuff, they are having Bible time right in front of their lodge. And let's just say that wasn't a good conversation at lunch later. I feel I hate thinking about
Yeah,
that.
it's always the most embarrassing things that you just feel like that turn into like the best funny stories. I
Yeah,
feel,
I feel that.
but it sucks to say it,
Yeah.
right? Unless you make sure that like whoever you're delivering it to like will laugh.
Yeah.
Right? Oh gosh, yeah. It's just my entire sixth grade year was just like,
Who
oh, I
who'd you
just
have? You had Spry for 6th grade year, right?
no, I had Osborne and Agnew.
Were you in the oh, you must have been in the other rotation because I had as Agnew and Osborne as well.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
think we were
I
in
just
different rotations.
yeah,
Like,
I can't remember who I had
yeah,
first. Oh, that was just like that was horrible.
I agree.
Like,
Yeah. You
yeah,
and I have
everything I did, I just regret. Like, like, oh, why was I such a bonehead? Like, and I'm sure I'll look back on my freshman year of college and be like, "You're such a bonehead."
stupid.
But
Yeah, I look back And I'm still not a huge fan of what Agnew did as a teacher. Like the whole cursive thing,
Mm.
that
Oh
still
my
haunts
gosh.
me.
Yeah.
Um, because
Mrs. Osborne was great.
Osborne was awesome. I loved her
Yeah.
class. But I still I can't I couldn't write the same up until ninth grade. That's when I started writing like normal. I wrote in cursive since to ninth grade, probably.
That.
And it like
Mhm. Yeah.
uh
Some people are just good at handwriting.
yeah.
Have you noticed that? Like some people's handwriting is just spot on.
My handwriting used to be chicken scratch. Literally, I couldn't read it half the time. And
Yeah.
starting my new job that I have, I had to start writing things and people couldn't read what I was saying. So I was like, well, I need to just change my handwriting.
Mhm.
So I just changed my handwriting. It took a bit of practice, but I'm pretty well versed in this new style of handwriting. I do
Yeah.
all uppercase letters. It's just like a shorter version of the uppercase letter as lowercase.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm. Weird. Um, yeah, I know my dad and Mr. Millard
Hmm.
both write almost entirely in uppercase letters,
Okay.
and it just seems like such like a blocky way to write.
Hmm.
It's not. There aren't any shortcuts in it, which
But
is
you can read every letter they write.
exactly right.
Yeah.
They can just scrawl it out, but you can still read it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what is the most important thing that you have learned in your years of living?
My 19 years of living.
Yep.
Boy. I think it was all and still is to this day and probably always will be. And this is going to sound so cliche. Do do unto others what you would want them to do unto you.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, a lot of the times that doesn't link up, but I constantly have people coming up to me like old friends from high school and stuff that um say, "Man, I'm sorry. You were always so nice to me and I was just always a dick."
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
that's probably
Yeah.
what I'd say.
Yeah. Um. Gosh, if I had to answer that question, I'd say um, pretty much the same thing. I think that's the like love everyone.
Yeah.
Give every. I mean, and I know it sounds weird. I'm not Christian, but Jesus's messages of love thy enemy.
Mhm.
It's like, how do you? I don't know. Just the whole concept of universal love,
Yeah.
so important. Um, love and respect, and I don't always follow that, but
Mhm.
I think it's life is always just a work in progress.
Yeah, I feel that. Um, yeah. Starting this production company that I have now and trying to get other people onto it, like a good friend of mine, his name's Nathan. He's about to start hosting a podcast that's going to be the second podcast on Hometown Productions and
Cool.
getting to help him with that. I'm his co-host on the show. Was really interesting to see the way that he brought upon hosting. It kind of made me think of how I'm doing this show and how it should be going.
Okay. Um, I have 2 episodes of a podcast, but they're one of them is all right, and the other one is pretty awful.
Okay.
Um, you can check it out on Spotify. Just I'm gonna tell you, this isn't supposed to be a plug for
Here,
my.
no,
I don't want anyone watching.
you can put it in the chat if you want to of the Zoom
Okay.
call. Yeah, if you
Okay.
don't want to spout it out, you can put it in the chat.
Yeah, I can't even remember what it's called. Oh yeah, that's what it is. Hold on, just a sec. Yep, that's what it is. Okay. I'm typing it in the chat right now. is I have 2 episodes.
Okay. We'll discuss that after the podcast. I'll find
Yeah.
out what that is, and
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. You have any more questions?
Yeah. The way I like to end the show is I like to ask the guest to bring a joke.
Okay, it's not mine.
Okay.
But and I can't even do a Scottish accent, so it'll be rough. But I've heard it twice before told to me by different people.
Okay.
And okay, enough with the pretenses. Okay, so there are 2 American guys, right? They're travelers and they've been all over the world. And they're on another one of their journeys and they end up sailing into the Scottish town, right? And they park right on the dock and they point out and they say, wow, look at that amazing stone foundation, that jetty that's built out into the ocean. And look at the amazing craftwork of this dock. This town must have some masterful artists in it. And they go to this bar, right? And this bar is so ornately built. And they say, this town must have the best carpenter the world has ever seen. And they open the doors and they go in and ask for a drink. And the bartender comes out and gives them 2 drinks, right? Big beers. And so they start sipping on them. And they didn't notice him on the way in, but as they look over, they see an old guy hunched like this, and he's very Scottish, so pardon the accent. He says, boys, did you see that jetty out there as you came sailing in? And they're like, yes, we did. It was beautiful. And they're like, I built it. But they don't call me McGregor the jetty builder, do they? And they're like, what? And then he points to the dock before they can say any more. And he says, you see that dock over there? I built that dock with my own 2 hands and no more. But they don't call me McGregor the dock builder. And they say, what? And he gets up. He's angry now. He gets up and he says, and you see this bar that you sit in and drink in? I built this bar with my own 2 hands before this village was even here. But they don't call me McGregor the carpenter. You fuck 1 goat. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. It's my favorite.
I'm glad you shared that one because that was perfect.
Yeah,
exactly what I needed.
It's got the perfect amount of build up to it.
Yeah.
And it's fun to tell too. I just wish I had a better Scottish accent.
Yeah. You need to work on that.
Yeah. Completely embarrass me, you know?
Yeah. You should just spend like an hour
working
later.
Yeah.
Storyboard it.
Yeah. You know what I've been doing? I've been trying to do handstands.
Okay.
And can't quite stay, right? Mm-hmm. I can get like maybe 3 steps, but then I fall over. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's fun. Yeah. Well, thanks for having me, Seth.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Yeah, I'm gonna do this outro thing right here.
Okay.
So thank you for listening to Interviews from My Hometown. Interviews from My Hometown is a production of Hometown Productions. And Gus, thank you for being on the show. It was a pleasure.
Thanks for having me.
Have a good night. Interviews from My Hometown is sound mixed by Seth Gamble, hosted by Seth Gamble, funded by Seth Gamble, and is produced by Hometown Productions. Music is by Pink on YouTube.